Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another stream. Massive shout out and thank you to Zeneca, who's joining me tonight, all the way in Australia. So we obviously we're pumped to do this show. Massive narrative right now because obviously a lot of AI tokens are popping off. The agents have been shilling a lot on Twitter. Okay, there's a lot of alpha on base, virtual, so much to unpack. So it should be a great episode. Zeneca, how are you tonight, mate? And thanks again for joining me.
Yeah, happy to be here. I'm good. It's been a good day. Been a good week for the AI agents, so can't complain there.
Yeah, very much so. So I suppose just to give a quick wrap about what we want to cover today. Obviously, it's very much going to be educational focus. No real strict guide. So if you have any questions, guys, let us know in the chat and we can answer them throughout the show. But pretty much, I want to talk about like how to go about it, where maybe the best plays are at the moment, what trends are going to potentially take place in your opinion over the coming weeks, over the coming months, and then just briefly discuss like the different sectors. Obviously, we have the agents, we have the infrastructure, we have base, we have virtuals, but then we also have Solana taking over at the moment as well with Farcoin and GOAT and those sorts of plays as well. So there's so much to unpack, Zen. Where would you like to start?
Good question. Honestly, we can start anywhere and we'll just, from there, I think organically start talking about everything else.
I like it.
Yeah. Pick Solana or base.
Yeah, okay. No, well, I'll start with base because as I pitched this out on Twitter a couple of days ago, obviously just promoting this stream. And you were one of my friends in the space that was probably the earliest to the base narrative, even before the AI sort of meta really kicked off, right? And so for me, that was like a clear sign of identifying a trend. Okay. And so my question to you to begin is why base and why did you go there to begin?
Yeah. So I wrote a whole newsletter on it, basically breaking it down, and it came down to a few things. One was ETH and being bullish on ETH having its moment. Like ETH has lagged behind Solana and Bitcoin and basically everything this cycle, but I think ETH will catch up again at some point. And when that happens, money will flow to base as an L2, the most dominant L2. Another thing was the metrics. And in terms of like TVL locked on Ethereum and its L2s, it's like 60, 70%, 55% I think is just on ETH. Of every blockchain, it's like 300 plus blockchains. And it's just like, there's so much money in the ecosystem that it is a lot easier for things to pump a lot higher there than almost anywhere else. Then there's Coinbase, like the company behind Base is one of the largest exchanges in the world. I think it's largest in America and a few other places. And they're obviously going to be promoting and pushing and trying to get people to use their chain. And they've been doing that pretty successfully. So yeah, that was a few reasons. I remember about a year ago, there was another like base season when the chain had just started taking off and there were a few coins, Degen and a few other meme coins that did really, really well. This time around, I think though, like we're in a true bull market. So things I think can go much crazier. And that was basically it. That was it. And I felt like people weren't paying attention at that moment. Everyone was kind of on Solana. And you kind of, there's always like, you want to skate to where the puck is going to be in this space. You can obviously get it wrong. Like I've definitely gone wrong in a lot of places, even on base. Like, you know, there were a bunch of meme coins that I thought would do really, really well and they've underperformed. But if you get in, you know, if you spray and pray a little bit, you'll catch a few different narratives and it only takes one of them to take off like virtuals.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a good segue. I've just pulled up the TVLs just to have a percentage look, and ETH still dominates, right? Like 55% is on Ethereum. Solana's now second, 5.3. Sorry, where's Solana? 7.26%, and Base is sixth. So
Yeah.
you're right. Like it's 3% of the supply. As you said, like Coinbase, they don't even need Base to run for them to succeed as a company and have a business revenue, right? So the fact that they enabled that, and then Base has been so good for, like you said, so many different players within the Base ecosystem. It's fantastic that, again, you spotted an early trend, and that's what both me and you love to do in this space. And I think right now a lot of people are sort of you're catching the start of the AI cycle. And I know I was just literally chatting to Mando on the timeline about it, and I know you're quite an advocate for this too, that likely we see a lot more go a lot higher. So AI is definitely here to stay. We're only starting to see maybe the surface of where this could potentially go. However, let's backtrack a little bit. So where did virtuals come from? Where was the first time you ever heard about agents or all those sorts of things? Was it on Base or was it somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, Virtuals has been around for a year. They just celebrated their 1 year anniversary. And so it's not new, but it didn't really take off, I would say, until maybe October of this year when the bull market heated up and AI stuff started taking form. So that's probably when I heard about it. Maybe it was September, October, sometime around then.
Yeah.
And obviously, we saw the AI agent meta boom on Solana first with Goat. Goat went absolutely crazy. And then there were so many tokens that came after Goat, AI16Z being probably the most significant one there. There were
Yeah.
memes like Farcoin. There's just been so many AI coins and just popping up on Twitter and on the timeline. And some of them were
Yeah.
funny, some of them were not. They were making music. It's all gotten a bit crazy right now. But like that's when the meta started. And then so like AI was very much in the zeitgeist. And then you have this platform on Base where you can launch like a pump fund style, launch your own AI agent.
Okay.
It seemed intriguing, and so yeah, that's what drew me in. And then I bought some of the there weren't that many coins on there to begin with, and I bought some of the earlier agents. And just the more I sort of like stuck around and saw that like it wasn't just bots posting on Twitter. It was like there were
Yeah.
teams building out like investment DAOs and all sorts of other just interesting things like an ad influencer network and I don't know, just trying stuff. And like it's all so new and raw that like you just have to back a decent team and hope that they try good things and some of them
Yeah.
work. Basically it.
Yeah, and that's the alpha, like you just said, right? Like, look, at the end of the day, you're always speculating. But if you're speculating on a team that either has proven experiences or proven success, or you've done enough analysis and enough research to dive into that, right? And you're confident enough, then that's where your thesis starts to play out, and you're early to that trend. So that's why your gains have been quite aggressive over the past sort of, I'd say, a couple of months now, really, since we spoke about base, maybe quite a while ago.
Yeah.
So I suppose, like, I'm looking at Twitter right now and it says AI has a mind share of about 52%.
It's
Is
crazy.
this, is that crazy? Or is that a sign for what's to come? It's going to get higher? Or do you think we cool off here for a little bit? What are you thinking right now?
It is crazy. I don't know if we cool off or go higher. I think it will remain the dominant narrative for this
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for like 2 years. I've been like AI is going to be the big thing this bull market. Obviously memes we came along and we had that meme coin super cycle narrative. I still
Mhm.
think memes will do very well, but
Yeah.
I see AI agents as like the perfect hybrid between meme coins and utility coins because they're largely traded based on as like a meme coin. It's attention
Yes.
and
Yeah.
narrative,
Yeah.
but there's
Absolutely.
like a little bit of utility involved and like they're
Yeah.
doing some interesting stuff. And so the people that couldn't get on board with memes because it's just so ridiculous,
Yeah.
can get on board with AI agents, and the meme coin traders will just generally go where the money is and where the attention
Yeah.
is, and that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's
it's the
what,
best of
like,
both
as
worlds.
exactly, and that's what I do. Like, as a trader, like, you follow liquidity, you follow volume, you follow attention. Like, and if you're not doing that, you're missing out on so many opportunities. So I suppose then, like, that leads me into a good question too. Like, obviously we've seen Hyperliquid come out recently. That's been quite dominant. We're talking about it in GTG today about whether that's going to sustain volume and sustain consistent returns. And now that we've seen massive returns in like Fartcoin and Goat in A16Z, like AI, XBT, like all of these different players, Zero Bro as well, I suppose, is now pumping. Like, is there other chains that you think will follow this narrative and succeed, or is it better to double down on Base and Ethereum and Solana? Really, probably Base and Solana, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I'm always weary of too many chains and like fragmenting attention and liquidity and all that kind of stuff. I think base and Solana will probably be where the bulk of AI agent stuff happens for this cycle. I think we
Yep.
will see some of it on Hyperliquid when they launch their EVM
Yep.
chain. Maybe some Monad stuff. People will try it, but I don't think it'll capture as much mind share as Base and Solana because they've established such a network effect early on that by the time other chains launch, like people will try and trade them because they'll be like, oh, there's good money to be made here, and there will be good money to be made.
Yeah.
But I think that the lion's share will still happen on Base and Solana.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, if you think about, like, you and me both know about this on meme coins. We talk about NFTs, and if you track cycle, like even just this cycle alone, we saw meme coins pop off on Ethereum, then Solana came to town, then Base obviously was pretty much number 3, I'd say, and then every other chain tried to jump in. We've had Sui, we've had Tron, we've had Binance Smart Chain, we've had all of those, XRP more recently. We even had Ape Chain as well. So, but again, my biggest thesis when trading is always, if you can give me month-on-month volume, month-on-month consistency with attention and profits, then okay, that deserves my attention. If you cannot do that, then it's not worth my time.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense.
Yeah, and so okay, so for someone to get started in this, have you like is it buying top altcoins? I suppose I want to unpack your portfolio allocation too, and moving forward there. Is it heavily allocated now there? Are you going to go further into that, or are you starting to de-risk because you got in early? But also, is it like is the play to start DCAing into these as the cycle continues? Like, I still am very much in the camp that we see a local high, if not maybe the high of this whole cycle in Q1 this year, possibly Q2. But again, we'll just play it by ear. What are you doing at the moment, and where should people go?
Yeah, I think the best strategy for almost everyone is to DCA into good, solid, proven tokens. It's like the trenches is so risky. Some people
Yes.
do really well in there, but it's like it's an entirely new risk skill set. And most people can't cut it. They end up over trading or buying the wrong things or holding too long. Whereas you find coins that, maybe they're at 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, 500 million market cap. But if they're established, and especially at the higher end, they've got a lot of market share, it is much harder for them to go to zero or have a massive drawdown. And I think that as the cycle goes on, there's a lot of potential for them to really blow off because we haven't really had alt season yet. That's the crazy part. Like, this is all happening with BTC dominance still close to 60%, 57, 58. And so the lion's share of the gains on altcoins come towards the end of the bull market. And so whether that's in a month or 2 or 3 or 6 or whatever, I think there's still plenty of time. And also, like, a lot of conversations I'm having with like funds and AI teams that are building in the AI agent space. It's like there's a lot of excitement there, and there's a lot of money and attention and dev power going into this whole area, which I think leads me to believe that we're still relatively
the
early.
innovation, like we're at the first step of this innovation. Like, and me and you caught up for a coffee probably about a month ago now, and we discussed like stepping away from investing in AI. We discussed about how AI is going to impact crypto and trading in general, and how is that going to actually make it more streamlined with charting and with people knowing where the levels of support and resistance are, where mathematical equations pretty much just print consistently. I know that there's a few traders in GTG that are building automated algorithms right now to trade based on a high percentage win rate and profit factor. So I think we're really at the step of innovation of where AI is going. And for the first time in history, I think maybe humans won't be the most intelligent source on the planet, which is scary, but hey, it's where we're going, and you can't deny it. And I think if you're going to be, look, pessimistic, but if you're going to fade that, then I think you're going to fade potential opportunities, investment opportunities, obviously, but also just keeping up with how the world works, right, every single day. So let's step back a little bit. Portfolio. How much are you allocating there? Have you sold other bags? Are you still allocating there, or are you waiting for potential dips or new opportunities? How does what are you doing? And then we'll talk about what other people could potentially do.
Yeah, I'm pretty heavily allocated into AI agents and memes. It's like I would say AI agents, memes, and NFTs are like 90% of my portfolio. Like, I have a tiny bit of Bitcoin, a tiny bit of ETH, I mean, a decent amount of ETH and a bit of Sol, but like the lion's share is in AI coins, meme coins, and NFTs, and that's because, especially at this point in the cycle, I think that they will, on aggregate, outperform, and it's difficult to pick the exact
Of course.
one or two, but I think that if you spread your chips wide enough, you're going to catch enough winners. That, at least that's my strategy. And once you find something that does well and you have conviction in, I think doubling down and tripling down on that is, you want to add to your winners, is basically been my strategy. So I'll probably, I mean, the two biggest holdings I think in my portfolio are AIXBT and Vader. Like, you know, AIXBT being the massively popular AI KOL, I guess you can call it, influencer on Twitter. And Vader was the first token launched on virtuals. They have a cracking team behind it. They're building an investment. I think they said they want to be the BlackRock of investment DAOs or something like that. But they're trying all sorts of stuff. They were like, they did an ad network for as an AI influencer, and they made a bunch of money and gave it to stakers. So those are my two biggest holdings. And then the rest is, you know, I have tons of AI agents. I have on Solana, probably my biggest holdings are Pengu. I'm just the most bullish on that as a meme. And then the Nothing token by Shloms, where they automated the @God and @Satan accounts on Twitter, which I think is really cool and will eventually pop off. And then, in terms of like taking profits and reallocating, I'm a believer in, I don't like to sell all of my positions. I've tried it before. It's just not my straight trading style. I'll even leave a Moonbag if it's a project I don't like. But if it's something I like, I will just skim 5%, 10% when it hits like new all-time highs, and then use that money to reallocate into new higher risk plays at the lower market caps, or keep it in stables, or you know, take profit elsewhere out of crypto. But that's my strategy for taking profits. It's like, if I have good coins that I believe in, and I think we still have quite a while left to run in this bull market, in terms of the bulk of the move, at least for alts, then I just
no, that makes sense, and thank you. That answers the question very thoroughly. So I suppose for me, like, because you touched on so many like relevant points for myself. Like, I pretty much, let me just mute as maybe Zen needs to reconnect. I'll just bring him off. But pretty much like my strategy at the moment really is that I might need to remove the guest. No, he's there. It's all good. Okay, sweet. I think you're good. But pretty much my strategy right with trading is I'm probably on the opposite side, right? Where I'm very aggressive. And I think I might need to learn from you in the fact that I might need to maybe sit on my hands a little bit more and maybe allocate a little bit more into trades rather than take full profits. And I think that's a really good potential strategy where you adapt when the cycle goes on. So that's the first thing I think I definitely want to talk about. I think Zen's still frozen, guys. He'll be back. But I think also it's spending time learning new things. All right, I'm gonna. Yeah, are you there? I think you're very glitchy. Okay, he's gonna come back. Okay, so I suppose like this is the thing too. Like a lot of people get stuck in that mindset of forgetting that following new trends is actually the alpha, and going where strength is and doubling down on strength is where you actually want to go, guys. So this is insightful for me because I don't have a lot of AI exposure. So for me, I probably want to allocate more. I own a bit of GOAT, I own a few other ones in my hot wallet on Solana. I suppose what I was just saying is I need to adapt my trading strategy, right? And so for me, I take profits way too aggressively. That's because I've been burnt in the past. That's just a strategy that I've adopted. So it might be better for me to hold some plays like this, or hold a percentage of plays for this longer term. What about NFTs? Now, are there any AI NFTs really that tickle your fancy at this stage? Obviously, Zero Bro and a few others released their sort of variant NFT. Not sure what the utility is, or again, was that just a money grab? I'm not sure. What's your fundamental thesis there?
Yeah, there's a handful. On the one hand, you have the AI art, things by like Claire Silver, the Life in West America. I forget the name of the artist behind that. Bodo. There's a bunch of really cool, interesting stuff happening in the AI art space, especially some historical pieces. And then there's Parallel Avatars is probably my biggest AI related NFT portfolio. It is by the Prime team, the people
Yeah.
behind Wayfinder, this new AI agent thing that's coming out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's this month or Q1, but that is going to be an absolute game changer. I think that the things it's going to be able to do, it's going from AIs like engaging with you to you asking your AI agent to giving it commands, and it will be like bridge funds from this chain to this chain and buy me a token.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
monitor this, send me an alert when the price hits this, and it's just like conversational English AI. It's absolute madness. So parallel avatars are the NFTs they dropped a year, maybe over a year ago.
Yep.
They will be characters they're building this game called Colony, and it's a fully automated like sandbox for AI agents to just interact with other AI agents. And it's very, very cool. I recommend people look into it. And so I have a bunch of those avatars. Yeah, that's probably, I have some of those Zero Bro NFTs as well. But the art stuff and the parallel avatars are the most interesting to me at the moment.
I'm very grateful you brought this up, because I actually signed up for that Wayfinder and I just dropped it in the chat too, if you haven't done that yet, guys. And I do agree, Prime. I actually bought some Prime today. I remember when Kix, shout out to Kix, like he shilled Prime at like less than $2 or at $2. Like I'm going to say about a year ago. And I mean, I did own some, but again, I took aggressive profits, right? So I mean, so the avatars are at 0.88 here. We've got 2% listed. Unique ownerships at 25%. It's not too bad. A little bit high, a little bit low. Sorry. Like, is that still worth the buy here? And what time frame is the game coming out?
I don't actually know when Colony's coming out, but I feel like I saw a video a year ago of like alpha footage. So I imagine they're pretty far along in the production phase. I've been holding for a very long time. So they've been to like 1.5 ETH before. They've dropped down to like 0.3, 0.4 and back up to these points. I think they're still a good buy at 0.88 going into, with this whole AI agent meta we're in right now. And if NFTs have a proper moment, especially with like abstract and everything, putting the attention back on them. And especially when Wayfinder launches, I think a bunch of attention will come on these parallel. Maybe they'll even get an airdrop. Like for all I know, they'll give an airdrop to the NFTs, which would absolutely send them in terms of token price. So yeah, I think they're still kind of slept on. A lot of people don't even know about them.
Yeah, no, and I actually really vibe with that. I think I might pick up a couple after the stream. So don't front run me, guys. So I suppose then, like, we've covered quite a lot. So how does someone go about getting onto, let's start with virtuals, because I think that's probably the one that a lot of people get confused about. I know that Uniswap, I think, has finally added them to swap manually, but I could be wrong. How does one go about this whole process of maybe getting exposure to some of the base tokens, to virtual specifically, or other potential AI agents?
Yeah, so virtuals, I just recommend going to the website and having a look around. I think it's virtuals.io or app.virtuals.io. And it's like there's a coin market cap style page where you can see the top agents and the market cap, and you can click on them. And I think you can like connect your wallet and buy directly through there. I believe you need the virtuals token to buy on their platform, so you can buy that on Uniswap, or I like DeFi Llama Swap. It like aggregates all the dexes and gets you the best rates, and you can also buy directly on there. So if you don't want to buy virtuals, you can just swap directly on a dex aggregator, and it will like do all the hops and jumps for you. So, but yeah, just poke around the website, have a look. Click through to like the Twitter pages of some of the projects, the websites. Just get a feel for like what these are, what they do. Don't rush into things. I think just get a lay of the land first, and then take your time when it comes to like getting funds over. It's really easy. Like if you're on Solana, you can just bridge in Phantom Wallet, I think, straight to base and just start doing stuff over there. So and like it is still a little bit of friction, but I've always been I always say friction is good. It means you're early. Not all friction is good. Sometimes you're too early, or you go to a chain that's too hard to use and people never come. But I feel like base is at a point where it's like, it's at just the perfect level of friction where it's not too difficult, but it's like a lot of people are just like, I'm a little bit lazy, or I just can't be bothered figuring out a new wallet.
Yeah, no, very true. And a lot of people have been like, Greeny, hey, can I buy it on Photon? Can I buy it elsewhere? And I'm like, no, like it's sometimes like some of them, yes, but some of them, no. But the problem that you have obviously is the lack of liquidity. So I would
most of the big ones you can, and I think most of the even like the medium ones you can now, because a lot of people, including myself, will set up a liquidity pool and they'll pair it with the token and ETH. So then for people that do want to trade in ETH, we get a percentage of the fees and they get to trade on Photon or whatever it is they want to without having to buy virtuals itself. So for all the decent tokens, you should be able to buy on Photon.
Okay, that segue. Let's segue over into LPing, okay? Because I know that's something that you do. I know that a few members of GTG do that very well. How does one go about that? Is that further down the risk curve for you? Should you be doing both sides? Should you do one side? Let's like talk very beginner level about LPs and maybe what the strategy could be there.
Yeah, so I think it's less risky if you know what you're doing. If you don't know, if you really don't know, how do I say it? If you're not really confident in what you're doing, then it's really risky because you can screw up and get just completely in the wrong places. But the crux of it is that you provide liquidity to people that want to trade the tokens, and so there's multiple ways you can do it. Like I said before, you can take the agent coin like AXBT and ETH and put that in a pool, and then as people buy and sell, you get a percentage of the fees. But what happens is that let's say the price of AXBT skyrockets, then all of a sudden, as the price is going up, you're selling your AXBT is being sold, and you're getting ETH in return. And so if you're happy to sell as price goes up, that's great. It's a great way to like DCA out of a position as price goes up and get some fees. But if you're like, oh, I really wanted to hold my bag and now it's done 3x and I have nothing left, that's where the risk comes in. And so really understanding, it's called impermanent loss, and how that all works is kind of critical for this. I recommend there's a video, it's got to be like 3 years old now, but on YouTube, search Finematics liquidity pooling or something like that. And they have some excellent educational videos on how it all works with good illustrations. And just get a grasp of it, and then play around with the beauty of base, like Sol is like gas fees are negligible.
Yes,
so just put like $1 in or $2 in and just see how it works. And you'll get a position size and you'll see how it works, and you'll start to get like a tiny amount of fees. You can claim at any time, you can withdraw at any time. But and so in terms of what I do, it depends on the token. If it's something that I want to buy more of, perhaps, then you can put a bunch of ETH in and basically DCA in as the price goes down. And that means as price goes down, you're buying the token. You need to remember to close your position at a certain point if you don't want to also then sell it back as the price goes back up. For things I think that are like relatively stable, I'll just sort of like keep a wide range. And like Veda, for instance, I think I have a position open from like 80 million to like 300 million now. So if it's within that range, I'm earning fees. And if it goes beyond 300, I've sold that portion of it and got an ETH, which I'm happy with. If it goes below that, I'll have all Veda, which I'm happy with because I'm happy holding that token. So there's a lot to it, but baby steps. I think just take it one step at a time.
But again, it's the amazing thing about crypto is opportunity, and there's so many opportunities every single day in so many passive or active ways, and I absolutely love it. So just to touch base and finalize on that point, where does one go to provide liquidity on Base or Ethereum?
Uniswap is basically the best place to do that. Uniswap, they have V2 or V3. But go in, connect your wallet, and there's like I think a create position button up top somewhere. And then you can enter the two tokens you want to provide liquidity for. Usually it'd be like ETH and something else, or USDC and something else. Click through, and then you can set the range of the prices that you're happy to provide liquidity, the whole spectrum or like a smaller spectrum, and just tinker around with it. And again, like you can do it with $1, like just try it like $5, see how it works, and then you'll just get an idea and feel for it, and then you can gradually put more and more money in.
Yeah, love it. No, and I'm pretty sure like 2 other resources if you do want to go out there. Easy, shout out to Easy. He released a video recently about, I think it was 10-15 minutes long. Absolute banger. So
really good.
That.
And that's great for Solana.
Yeah, exactly. And Meteora, they have plenty of their own stuff over there as well. If you're someone that's a bookworm, you can read all their stuff. They have videos on there as well. So highly recommend that. Okay, let's talk about DAOs World, because that's one thing that me and you and a few people in GTG got into. Shout out to Mike and a few others. What's your thesis there, and why is that sort of different to AI agents and other plays within this sort of narrative?
Yeah, so DAOs World is basically a copy of there's one on Solana. I think it's DAOs Fun or something like that.
Hmm.
Can't remember the exact name, but basically the idea is that I mean, AR16Z was launched on there. It's people um, pay money into a DAO or launch a token, and when a certain amount of money goes in, the token is launched. It's like pump fund style. It's bonded,
Yeah.
liquidity is created, and then there's a treasury in the DAO of a bunch of money that people paid in. And then as a DAO holder, the theory is that it operates as a DAO. You can vote, you can do other things, or like there's one
Hmm.
person running it to begin with, and you decentralize over time.
Yeah.
But then you have like an AI agent plus the DAO element kind of created at the same time. And I think the theory is that people can just cool things will happen. Like you can create an agent that goes off and does trading. I think one of the ones on DAOs World is it's trying to do like what MicroStrategy does with Bitcoin, but on chain. Another one
Hmm.
might be like you could get a DAO that's doing liquidity farming. Like if you don't know how to liquidity farm and do liquidity pools and deal with impermanent loss, but you'd like some of the fees, then
Yeah.
I don't know if this exists, but it should. Someone will create a DAO or an agent that does that automatically, and the holders will just get some of the fees back. And so it's just this cool new model. It's very speculative, there's definitely
Sure.
Ponzi elements, and it's all it's all very risky, but it's
Hmm.
interesting, and I think
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose like so then exploring that a little bit further then the DWL token, which me and you are currently staking, is that then what you potentially just explained? Like, is that where the next opportunities lie? And you burn your DWL tokens to get whitelist opportunities for potentially, like we just spoke about, a agent that maybe does some LP farming. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, there's different layers to it. So the GWL token is basically you stake your DAO. There's 4 DAOs been launched on DAOs
Hmm.
World, and if you stake those tokens, you get the DWL token, which is basically the whitelist token, DAO whitelist token, and you can use that to enter a raffle into a whitelist for the next DAO that launches.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them, I mean, they've all done like 10x, 100x crazy returns on a small amount of money.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the, I guess, pieces of utility. Others are like, yeah, that they have their own trading strategies or being an investment fund or doing something else. Um, so yeah, I recommend taking a look at it. There was a bunch of FUD today because the founder,
Yeah. Yeah.
was like he did some random rug on Uniswap a long time ago. Oh yeah, there you go. Question about that. It's obviously not great, but
No.
it's not news to me. Like most people I know who were in it early had like known about that before, and that was his past. And it obviously made it risky at the beginning that someone like that was launching this, but it seems like it's a good protocol now. It seems like that they have good intentions now. Obviously, it's all very very risky, but yeah, I don't know. Choose a crazy, well, not even a crazy example. Zagabond from Azuki, he rugged 2 previous projects and then built Azuki. So it's like
There was,
people
yeah.
forget.
Exactly, and you could take that even further. Luca has things in the past that
Mm.
didn't go
His drop
100%.
shipping
Yeah,
stuff, yeah.
yeah. I mean, we could talk about Frank as well, like what's going on
Mm.
in that whole situation. So yeah, and I want to add a point to this, right? You might as well speculate on things that maybe have a team and that are building a potential product and have utility than speculating in the trenches at a 1.2% graduation rate, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably my thesis in that department. So yeah, I did de-risk a little bit because I did see it breaking some critical trends a couple of days ago, which is good. But I mean, if we get a nice dip, I probably will buy some more again. So
Mm.
outside that, do you consider plays like top altcoins such as Nia protocol as like Fetch? I know Sexy is a big bullish fella on Fetch. Render has AI within it too. Do you think people can still make money in the top altcoins that follow the AI narrative, or is it better looking for maybe the more beta plays or the more riskier down the curve, lower market cap plays, or maybe the AI agents? Like, what's your thesis there?
Yeah, I think I think everything AI related will probably go up if this
Yeah,
bull market continues. I think it's just too strong of a narrative. I've never really bothered with like the big established top 20 AI coins already because it is harder for them to do many multiples, and
yeah,
B, I think that just the new stuff is where all the attention is, and so I think some of those will do well. but I prefer to basically just trade and hold the newer stuff and hope for the greater gains. And there's some pretty established new stuff that I think is
Mhm.
lower on the risk curve. And
Mhm.
like even if things crash, I think a lot of the like the nears and the fetch and the renders, I think they will crash pretty hard in a bear market
Mhm.
anyway.
Oh,
So it's
absolutely.
like you're taking. I think that the risk reward is better with some of the newer stuff. Is basically how
Yeah.
I'm treating it.
Yeah, I like that. And at the end of the day, like this is like crypto, right? Last cycle, we were promised like all these gaming tokens, NFTs came out, and everyone's like, yeah, we're building. We saw celebrities say all that sort of stuff as well. And what happened? They all pretty much went to zero, right? And over the span of 2 years, some of them have come back. Maybe a mind share of 5% have come back and returned this cycle. But I do agree that a lot of these AI plays, which are very hot now, probably won't be hot in a year's time, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just crypto. But yeah, so I pretty much that's it. So where does one go to research? So where like fundamentally, how do you go about researching opportunities in the AI space, in the agent space, in the base space? Is there analysis that you use? Are there websites that you use? How do you go about it?
There's a bunch of places for basically all of my research and where I get my information. It's like Discord groups, Telegram chats, and Twitter, and following
Yeah,
people. And I think that you just have to curate your own
yeah,
experiences there. You know, find people that you trust to follow, get into some group chats or
yeah.
groups, and learn with others. Um, Two people to follow I really recommend: Beast ICO and
Yep.
Sammy S4MMY. Sammy especially puts out, I think, once a day, maybe even twice a day, a great overall market analysis on AI agents, everything. Like
Yep.
if you follow one person, follow him. Um, and then from there, you'll just find other places like Cookie. Cookie is a AI analytics platform that
Mhm.
tracks like the mind share of AI agents and how that's changing day to day. And I really recommend giving that a look.
Mhm.
Kaito is another place that tracks
Mhm.
the mind share of
Mhm.
everything, not just AI, but like, every Twitter account. And you can see how like AIXBT, for example, is doing
Mhm.
versus your Ansem or your Mert or other
Yeah.
big profile account.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but honestly, it's just like keep clicking around, keep going down rabbit holes, keep staying curious, and just connect with other people and do it in a group.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Community is everything. Community is everything. Hey. Um, Okay, let's segue away from AI. Where else are you bullish? I know you mentioned obviously Pengu before.
Mm.
Are you leaning heavily into the airdrop meta with NFTs as well at the moment? Are you looking for other meme coin plays at the moment? Where else are you spending maybe time?
Honestly, I'm not spending time anywhere other than AI right now. I'm like just yeah, basically that's it. I
Yeah,
think NFTs will have another moment this cycle, but I've got so much exposure there already from just holding
yeah,
bags from last cycle that I don't feel the need to buy anymore. It's funny the whole airdrops for NFTs. We saw this exact same thing play out a year ago. It was like basically identical,
yeah.
and a lot of the same NFTs pumped. The difference though is like where we are in the market. We're in a much
Mhm.
more aggressive bull market now than we
Mhm.
were a year ago. So I think it will last a bit longer and be more sustained this time around.
Yeah,
I said back then I thought it was one of the best use cases for NFTs
yeah,
is um, protocols can airdrop to
yeah,
a community of holders that have held something for a long time, especially, and because everything's on chain, you can see like who held their Pengu airdrop and like we
yeah.
want to airdrop to them. Who held this? We want to airdrop to them. So I think there's some really interesting stuff that will happen there. Um, but yeah, most of my attention is basically on AI agents. In terms of what I
Mhm.
think might come next, I do think memes and AI will be like a prevailing narrative throughout the
Yeah,
rest of the cycle. I think gaming is going to have its day in the sun. There will be a gaming meta. Again, about a year ago, we saw the same thing.
yeah,
2021, we saw the same thing,
yeah,
where a bunch of gaming tokens will absolutely send. The
yeah,
thing is, though, it's like this, it's always opportunity cost. So if
yeah.
there's good money to be made going and buying, some decent gaming tokens and just waiting for 2 months, three
Mhm.
months, 5 months, 1 month, however long. But that's money that you could have spent buying AI
Exactly.
agents now that might get a better return in a shorter time frame. So it just depends
Yeah.
on how risky you want to be and what your personal strategy is.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. And that's why, like, me and you do what we do. We try to educate in a way that makes people consider their opportunity costs, their portfolio management, how risky they are, what their in real life situation is compared to other people, and things like that. Because it's a holistic perspective. And I know, like, this is my third cycle. I believe it's your third cycle
Yeah,
loosely as
pretty
well.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like it does take time and experience to learn a lot about like how crypto works, what you need to do, following trends, double down on strength, like all these sort of things really come into fruition as you get more experience over time. And unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. So I suppose then, putting you on the spot, if you had to pick 5 plays right now, what would you buy?
All right, let me just pull up deck screener in my watch list so I can get some inspiration. 5 plays right now. I would say the nothing token on Sol. I think it's just started to break upwards, but it's like it's down. It's at like 40 million market cap now, down from 100 and something. It's really hard to search. Like it's not called the nothing token. There is no ticker. It's blank. I don't know if I can paste in chat. I can paste to you maybe the CA. That one I think is really good. I think Trust, a virtual token, is I'm very bullish on that. The founder is deep in the trenches. He's creating like an auto trading bot for Hyperliquid, as well as he's already got one running on Binance, I think, doing some cool stuff there. Pengu, I'm just, it's probably the one meme or AI token I'm most bullish on that you can put a ton of size into. Like, you can't put $50,000 into a token that has a $2 million market cap. Like that just doesn't work. But if you want to find a token to put size into, I think Pengu is one of the best ones. I think it's the best one. 2 others, I think I just have to say AI XBT and Veda. I think that they've established themselves as like leaders in this new meta. Both of them have killer teams and people behind them. They're doing really good stuff. I think they'll continue to do good stuff. And there's a reason they're my 2 biggest holdings. I'm still really, really bullish on them.
Yeah, very much. Okay, amazing. There's some alpha guys. Okay, probably the last couple of questions before maybe we wrap. What's your exit strategy with this? And what's your take on where we are in the cycle so far?
Yeah, so exit strategy, I guess I kind of have 2. On the one hand, I said during the bear market at the start of this bull, I basically have a number in my mind that if I see my portfolio hit that number, I'm basically just going to mass liquidate, nuke everything, or sell like 90% plus of my positions.
Yeah,
because that's just like that will set me up and set the family up for the rest of life, and it's just it would be crazy not to sell at that point. Even if I'm probably still going to be really, really bullish. And every day I'm like, I'm getting relatively close to it now. And every day I'm like fighting against myself because I'm like, I really don't want to sell. I'm not going to, but you never want to sell when it's the top. And so I think that's one exit strategy I have, which, hopefully I get to execute on, and hopefully everything still rips 10x from there and everyone else makes a bunch of money. But that's my strategy. 2 is I am just skimming, a few percent profits whenever we hit new all-time highs. And actually making a bunch of money on liquidity fees as well, which is a newish strategy of mine. But yeah, like, I will take profits when, a token hits, it basically has a crazy God handle. I'll skim 5%, 10%. Now, a lot of the time I take the profits into ETH or whatever, and then I buy some other token with it. But I'm trying to, get a little bit of that out and put it into like a vault or even take it out of crypto.
And that's what I was going to ask too. Like my strategy is probably like my in real life circumstance is different, right, to everyone else out there. And so for me, I probably want to liquid everything nearly, except for maybe a little BTC. For you, do you put like this is diving deep? And I was chatting to Matt actually from Crypto Tax Made Easy about this. So USD versus AUD. Now, like for us here in Australia, right, you need AUD to live, you need AUD to buy a car, to buy a house, to have a mortgage, all those sorts of things. Looking at that chart, it looks like maybe USD still outperforms in the short term, but maybe 2026 we start to see AUD start to outperform again. Now, why I'm talking about this is because for someone like you and me who's made a decent amount of profit this cycle, are we actually better hedging and holding USDT before then liquidating it back into fiat? Or are we better just saying, look, this is the currency that I use every single day. It's my currency. I don't know any better. I'm just going to take it into AUD. So my question really to wrap all of that up is, are you taking profits into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, and possibly Solana? I'm not sure. Or are you liquidating it back into stable, so USD dollars, or is it fiat in the bank?
So let's say I hit my number and it's a kill switch. In my mind, that's liquidating into stable coins first.
Okay.
and then basically figuring out what to do from there. Taking a certain amount out to make sure tax obligations
Yes.
are taken care of. And then honestly, I think, I mean, I'm not an expert in Forex. I don't know if the US dollar or the Aussie dollar is going to do better or worse over time. I think then it's about what would you do with the money? And we will probably take I don't know, 10 or 20% out, put it into AUD and buy some shares or, that kind of stuff. But I do think I want to keep the bulk of it in stables on chain earning yield, because the opportunities in DeFi are you can get almost risk free. It's never going to be 100%, but like 99.99% risk free. Earning, I mean, in a bull market, 25% on your money. Even in a bear market, like 6%, 7%, which is pretty damn good.
So where do you go to do that?
Athena is the place at the moment for stables. I think it's basically the way that works is, to my understanding, is that when people leverage trade, they pay a funding rate, which is a amount of money to keep the position open, and Athena basically takes that money and distributes it back to people to their stablecoin as yield, which is sustainable. Like it's not a giant Ponzi like Terra Luna. It's sustainable in the sense that it's healthy and there's actual revenue coming from somewhere. You ask where's the yield coming from? That's where the yield's coming from. It also means that as the market cools off, that yield will drop, and in a bear market, it might be 3%. So you have to keep an eye on it and take it and all that. Obviously, there's smart contract risk as well. But that's probably the one of the places I would want to split it up across a few different protocols just to mitigate the risk. But it would basically be stables earning yield for the most part, and then with that yield, I would buy back Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, build up my positions again.
And so with that yield, is it USDC? Is it USDT? How does one allocate?
It would probably be USDC. That's the thing that I just prefer it over USDT.
Okay, amazing. Well, I'm pretty sure that's it. Is there anything else you wanted to really cover today? I mean, we've covered a lot of different talking points, a lot of alpha, a lot of how to, if you're obviously newer to the AI space. Is there anything else you wanted to cover at the end?
I mean, I want to find that ticket to the nothing token.
Yes,
I see in chat a bunch of people
there's
are asking. I will try and do that right now. But I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are in terms of where, like you said, your strategy has been taking profits sort of aggressively, which is, I think you learn that in the bear market and it makes a ton of sense. But you do leave money on the table, especially when some of these things go absolutely crazy. Are you changing that at all? Are you trying to hold certain things longer? What's your strategy like there?
I've been so aggressive with profits that I've taken a lot on chain and put it into my spot allocation, so that I don't risk it, right? Because for me, like I've had, like my story is crazy. Like I round tripped in 2017. I lost a lot of money to an NFT scam in 2021. So my history, right, over time is I've been burnt so many times that now that I've made a decent amount of money, it's like I want to kind of protect that, which is so funny because I always advocate for this too. If you're a smaller wallet trader, you're better taking higher risk plays and going harder. When you're a bigger wallet trader, you want to take high risk plays, but with a smaller percentage. And then you want to have sort of passive players with more sort of good opportunities in the majority of your plays and your spot bags, for example. So yeah, that's probably been the most challenging thing for me personally is adapting my trading philosophy, which I've really succeeded really well with this cycle, but more so just fundamentally it's been the process that I've gotten to. It's been my trading plan that I've gotten to over the past 9 years in crypto. And it's really hard to then change that. Even though I know, I can talk about so many, they're not fumbles. It's because I still took 2x, I took a 4x, I took a 10x, but then it went even further, right? Like I was in WIF at 200K. I was in MOG at 8 million. Like I could go on for quite a while about sort of plays like that. But for me, people always say, Greeny, like, do you regret that? Like, oh, you fumbled a big bag. I'm like, well, not really, because that sticks to my plan. And I have an exit strategy on every single action I take. And so ultimately, I'll probably walk away with profit this cycle. I might not make that extra 500K, extra couple mil, whatever it is. However, at least I've walked away with the money that I've made, right? And that's because I've been burnt in the past, and so many people in crypto don't do that. But now talking with you, and I think what I'm starting to come to my understanding is that, yeah, I probably need to be a bit more risk on now. And I've been waiting. My biggest thing is actually, I really actually like this chart. I'm going to buy some. It's
Oh
quite
yeah,
clean.
the nothing token.
Yeah. And then I'll put it in the chat. But pretty much like I'm waiting for BTC dominance. I'm waiting for BTC dominance to show weakness, which we might have actually finally had a lower high. I think we finally had a lower high. I still think there's a bit of trends, a bit more maybe sort of high 60% returns before we obviously see a couple more weeks / months maybe of like consolidation sideways before we see it dump. But I'm still, like you said, we've seen meme coins go crazy all cycle really. We've seen NFTs pop off the last couple of months. We obviously had ordinals and stuff pop off earlier in the year. So the fact that these are all happening whilst BTC dominance is still so high, as you said before, it makes me extremely bullish. The one problem I have is how fast we are front running this cycle compared to history. New all-time high pre-halving. Breakout was quicker than previous cycles as well, out of the consolidation phase. Post-halving, we're front running all-time highs right now as well. For me, I use a lot of Crown's stochastic momentum indicators as well, and they're all very overextended. And sure, you can stay up there for a bit, but you can't stay up in those sort of regions at extreme greed for 6 months. So I think sort of plays right now, I think it's very much, yeah, go risk on now, because I think it's definitely the right time to be doing that. It's full bull market season. Ideally we last till September, October this year, which is what we saw in 2021. But I mean, right now in the same capacity, I think we could see a potential all-time high in Q1 this year, and that could be it. And we could consolidate for a long period of time where we might not have as much volatility too. And BTC only, maybe it goes to 150K and then only goes down to about 80K again. I could definitely see that happening with the catalyst of obviously VCs and the ETFs driving a lot of demand. People actually fundamentally understanding what Bitcoin is worth, what Ethereum's like to build on, what Solana's maybe building if they have ETF exposure and those sorts of things too. So it's a very interesting time for me, because I like you, we've been around a long time. We've seen so much happen over even just the past 18 months. It's just been an absolute whirlwind. So I suppose now, like you said, I still own majority of my bag is in Bitcoin and Solana, and so maybe it's time to risk out. And I've been selling some Solana more recently. I do think that because of the token unlocks as well that are coming this year. Its market cap being inflationary. A lot of people aren't considering that. A lot of people yes, Solana's going to 1,000. I'm like, it's literally impossible for it to go to $1,000 this cycle. I mean, here we go. It's going to go to 1,000 because I said that now. But basically, if you look at the market cap, it would have to flip ETH, I'm pretty sure, to go to $1,000, which I just don't think that happens this cycle, perhaps. But yeah, I think talking to people like you, experienced heads, talking to Craig as well, who has a bit of experience across both cycles as well. It is he's taking profit. I put a tweet out yesterday, 25% of my profit is in the bank, which is good. But maybe I do need to be a bit more risk on now, because I'm in that position that I have put a bit in the bank now. What that's a whole long story, but there's a lot to it, right? It's been a long time coming, but there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to be thinking about all this, because it's so difficult. It's so hard. Everyone is trying to play the cycle right. It's trying to time it well. It's trying to decide when do I take profit. It's the $1 million question. I think one concept that's helpful for everyone to get in mind is the idea that you will never realize whatever your portfolio all-time high hits this cycle, you will never realize that. You will never sell the top. And even if you do, you'll lose several percent to slippage and fees and all this other stuff. So most people, I think if you can get out of 70% of your portfolio all-time high, that is a very good result. I think above 50% is still good. And a lot of people get caught up in, they see the portfolio, it hits an all-time high, and then it drops to 80%. And they're like, well, I don't want to sell now because it was so much higher. I'll wait till it bounces. And then it goes to 60%. And they don't want to get out at 60%. And getting out with 60% is still really, really, really good. And I think if you can prepare yourself ahead of time to that mindset, it will make it easier for you to sell at that point in time. And then, I think, I don't know, I'm max bullish ETH, basically. I think that I mean, I've been wrong for ages. I've been max bullish ETH for a while, but eventually, I really I can't see how it doesn't take off and start to outperform. Its ETFs are it's outperforming Bitcoin. You have there's just so many bullish catalysts for ETH, and it doesn't have inflation like Sol. It doesn't have unlocks. It and Base especially doesn't even have a native token, so it's just it's all in the tokens on Base. So yeah, I don't know. It's where I'm putting my money where my mouth is and just going kind of largely all in on that. I'd say 80 to 90% of all of my crypto is in ETH related things, ETH NFTs, ETH tokens, ETH
and Base.
Right. Yeah. Base that. ETH L2s. Yeah.
No, that's really interesting. And that's it. Cause we, like Craig and I did a stream about maybe 2 months ago, I think it was. And that was the time where I started to realize, holy, I'm very overexposed to Solana only. I like, it's been probably the best trade of my life, nearly, buying Solana at between $17 and $30 and holding no Bitcoin and no Ethereum at that stage, and in it outperforming by 5x to both of those throughout the past sort of 18 months, right? But it got to a point in, I think it was like, October, November. And I was like, holy, no, I need to, stop fading Ethereum now. The charts are probably showing strength towards Ethereum's side, or at least a bottom potential on a macro perspective. It's time to dabble there. And then again, we went out for coffee. We spoke about crypto for hours. And like, that was the whole Pudgy trade came from that as well. That was a hedge on Ethereum because I knew Ethereum might not pump as much, but I knew that Pudgy's probably had a lot of catalysts coming up that would potentially play that. Now we've obviously got Azuki coming out with their sort of plays as well. I bought I bought 4 Jirison at the moment. I've got Shan coming on Monday to do a live stream with him. So I think, like we just spoken about, I think the time to do not like full risk on, but the time to be quite active, quite risk on right now, outside of just meme coin gambling, is probably across this AI space, finding new trends, following where the strength is, following where the attention is. If you're priced out of those sorts of plays, then go to the beta plays, okay? And potentially start to be like, okay, well, if that's going to pump, then this is going to pump, because that's what the strategies always have been, and they're always going to be like that as well. So I suppose for me, it's now, okay, well, where can I put my money? Like that's literally it. And I saw, again, we were talking about this today. I've just saw Mendo's tweet earlier today. So I literally just bought, I don't even know, 100 Sol worth of different AI tokens on Solana, because I was like, you know what? I'm underexposed to that capacity. I'll do that. I bought some Prime. I could potentially pick up an Avatar too. I think that's not a bad play as well, as that NFT meta really starts to kick off. They are pumpy a little bit actually as we speak. So, I suppose for me, it's about adjusting strategies. And so many people, like yourself, I suppose, like you said, like you didn't fade Solana, but so many people on the timeline for a long time were like, no, Solana is not a thing. Like, shut up. Like, ETH's coming back. ETH NFT is coming back. A Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, is a great example in this situation where people got so caught up that, no, it's the #1 NFT. Sure, it was for a period of time, for a very long period of time. You got absolutely rewarded. If you took your profits, you got absolutely rewarded. If you didn't, then you're down bad. Like, you're down bad if you didn't, right? So adjusting strategies in a bull market is how you can really go from that maybe like conservative 2 to 5x to really go to that 10, 20, 50x potentially on your whole portfolio.
Yeah. And it's important to note that like everyone is different. Like everyone has a different situation, personal situation, risk tolerance, family life, and portfolio size. So what works for someone else might not work for you, and you have to really figure out your own strategy. And your strategy, like you said, will and should change over time for many, many reasons, like the market dynamics and cycles and metas, but also your portfolio size. If your portfolio size is going up, then you just have to adjust strategies, because again, you can't, if you're making all your money on tiny market cap coins, it's harder to go into those with size. Or if like, there's just different strategies with different portfolio sizes. So just constantly be mindful of that, and opportunity cost, I think, is a big one. Over trading is another big one that I think a lot of people fall victim to. I just put out a tweet about it, but it's like people get in a coin, it pumps, it drops a little. They like the coin, but they're like, you know what? I'm going to get out now. I think it's a local top. I'm going to go buy another coin and make some money on that. and then I'll get back into this coin later on. And then they do the same thing over and over and over and over again without a plan, a strategy, a system. And they end up just chopping themselves up. And I speak from experience. I've definitely done that myself.
Oh, I mean, we all have. And anyone that says they haven't is lying, literally. And it's funny you say that because I think I dropped a video 2 months ago, maybe about overtrading. And it's so like the positive impact that had, so many people like Greeny. Wow. Yeah. I probably needed to hear that. And because like, and you get so addicted, right? Like this is an addictive space. Like we go to bed and there's alpha when you wake up. Like you miss so many plays.
I hate it. Like, it's I got to change my sleep. I am actually actively changing my sleep schedule because maybe I'll change it back now. But like the amount of times I woke up and missed a literal 50x is crazy.
Yeah. No, and I agree. You have to, and that's it. Like sometimes, as long as your family are supportive of this too, you do have to be a bit more selfish at this point of the cycle, let's say, okay? It's not always going to be like this. And I think a lot of people forget that too. They get so caught up now and then they probably keep running, like we said before, when the cycle is dipping and it's like clear that macro highs are in. Okay, Bitcoin got to a crazy level. Solana got to 800, whatever it is. Okay, and people go, no, it's just a dip. It's like, probably not. Like you got to remember, people bought Bitcoin at 15K. People bought ETH at, what was it, like $800? I think it went down to.
Yeah, about that.
Solana $8. Like you got to remember, like people, there's so much, and last cycle too. Like that's so many people are like, Greeny, why ETH NFTs? And I'm like, well, you got to remember where the money is and where the attention always has been for ETH NFTs. And so I pulled it up. I did a stream earlier today, and like over the past month, ETH 2x ordinals volume and like tripled or 4x Solana NFT volume. You got to remember, so many VCs, so many wealthy individuals got into Ethereum way back like 2 cycles ago. So there's so much more money there. So you don't want to fade the strength of where people will go and where the attention's always going to go, because that's where the volume is. That's where the money is, right? So it's like, it's so incredibly complex. There's a lot of analytics that go into it, but it's adjusting your strategy and being open to new opportunities. I think a lot of people struggle with as well. They get stuck in that mindset of, no, this worked previously, this is going to happen again. No, it's not. It's better if you probably just say, look, that happened, sick. Okay, I'll use my knowledge from there and apply it to this potential new strategy that's happening over here. So that's probably, my thesis at the moment, I suppose.
Like the idea of like stepping outside your comfort zone, I think, is something that not enough people do. It's basically the same as like friction. I'm on Solana, going to base. I don't understand the Ethereum ecosystem or their wallets. That's outside my comfort zone. Or Hyperliquid, that's a little outside. It's, I have to learn a new thing. That is where a lot of the biggest gains are. It's stepping outside your comfort zone, trying something new before everyone else does, and being relatively early. And it's not all going to play out. I remember last year, a lot of people went to trade NFTs on like Say and Sui and a bunch of other chains back then. And it maybe worked for a minute, but it just wasn't a sustainable thing and never came back. So you'll miss some stuff, but you'll find some really good stuff as well.
Yeah, and I suppose like a question for you then, if you're like, generally speaking, there's 2 parties in crypto: people that are time rich and people that are time poor. What strategy or what plays would you suggest for each of those 2 parties?
If you're time poor, it's just buy some conviction tokens and just hold. And so that's usually your big caps, BTC, ETH, Sol. But also it could be like a Pengu, it could be a AIXBT or Virtuals or something like that. But basically just buy and hold and don't worry too much. Check in, once a week or, once a day for, 20 minutes or something like that. But don't fret over your prices. Don't, try and swing trade it. Just wait. And then maybe take profits if things get crazy, or just hold really long term if you're just holding Bitcoin, ETH and Sol. If you have a lot of time, then I think networking is probably the most effective way you can make money this cycle. I mean, there's the saying goes, there's a million ways to make $1 million in crypto. It's about finding those opportunities and knowing where they are. And the best way you can do that is by networking. And I always say the best alpha group you'll ever be in is a group chat with 3 friends, 4 friends. It's a small curated group of people that are in like a roughly similar spot, all trying to find the same kinds of opportunities, that when someone finds one, they'll share with the chat and you'll all make money together or lose money together. It's just the absolute best way. And if you don't have, in real life friends who are doing this, like almost none of us do, just literally go on a forum, go on Twitter, just find someone random and be like, hey, you want to join a chat? And that's how it all works. And just do that over and over and meet people.
Yeah, shoot your shot. Like so many people, like I remember, like I fell victim to this last cycle. Like you have no followers, you're like, oh man, this person has 10K followers, oh this person has 100K followers, whatever it is. You're like, oh, that like wow, wow, wow. It's like a celebrity status in a way, and you're like, oh no, they'll never reply to me. The good people do. Trust me. I've sent plenty of DMs to some top people in the space and they will reply because they're good people. And if you can connect like that, as Zen just said, it leads to so many opportunities. And those opportunities, again, if you keep reputation really good, those opportunities continue to flourish over time, right? As well. And that's where, as you said, that really community-based approach really can succeed over time. So no, I love that. That's a great sort of way. Maybe to end the stream. I don't know. Is there anything lastly that you want to say?
I don't think so. There are a couple questions in chat. I don't know if we want to get to them if there's time,
Yeah.
or we can I can answer them afterwards if there's.
Yeah, we could do that. No, we could do that now. So yeah, it was trust on virtuals. Yeah. So
yeah, although actually there is one on Sol as well. So the founder, he took a bunch of trust he owned himself and set up like a wormhole pool on Sol.
yeah.
But the OG is on virtuals, and that's I guess where the more liquidity is going to be.
Yeah, I just put the CA in chat, guys, if you wanted to look at that. CA for nothing token is up above Desert Keyboard. I did share that earlier. What else we got here?
Yeah, there's a lot of people asking for the CA for the trust token.
Yeah, I'll show it again. Have I got it? I got it here. Here we go.
Antoine asks, he gives tips, advice for the artists in the space. It's really tough to be an artist in this space. Obviously, NFTs created a lot of opportunity for a lot of artists, and I think that will remain true going forward. But actually, my advice is the same for artists. It's network with other artists, network with collectors. Just meet people and just get your work out there. Every artist is going to have their own style and just way that they operate. Some will create a lot of work. Some will create, be very, have a scarcity mindset and not create much. Just find what works for you, but just network and meet others and just keep turning up, keep doing it, and realize that it is really, really, really tough. It was easy for a golden pocket in 2021 when everything was absolutely ascending and artists made a ton of money without doing that much work. And that was honestly great. But now we're at a point where you kind of equate it with the real world or the rest of the world where it is tough to make it as an artist. And it's not an easy thing to get into. And I guess the good thing is that almost no artist I know got into art for the money. They get into art because they can't not do art, because they love art. It's their passion. It's their everything. But they also need to make money. And I think that NFTs and crypto creates this opportunity where it's a global market now and an audience. You have someone on the other side of the world in their underwear that could potentially buy your work. You don't need to get it into a gallery. And so but you're never going to meet that person unless you network and build out your connections. And so same advice.
Yeah, no, very well spoken. And I agree. You got to, as much, if you're an up and coming person, or if you're new to, I know Anton's been around a long time actually, but it hasn't captured that art on a larger scale. Let's say you do need to reach out, leverage off other people. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, like we spoke about before, if you can leverage off the right people, then that's a partnership that you never know could flourish into something else in many years to come. So yeah, that definitely would be my strategy as well. When are the Sol token unlocks happening? I believe it's the end of February, start of March. It's not too much, but it is. I think it's 2 to 5%, around that. 2-3.
Yeah, it's pretty significant. But then
I
think there's more throughout the year as well, right?
Yeah. It something like Sui has larger token unlocks than Solana. So yeah, that's a good question. Coffee break content coming in here with the more risk you want to take later in the cycle. I very much agree, but be careful. Yes, look, I'm an experienced trader. I'm an experienced crypto market person. So for me, adjusting is probably maybe an easier strategy. For you out there, if you are, like we said before, time rich, spend time. Yeah, absolutely. Dive down rabbit holes, spend time analyzing, join some groups. Okay, even if it's for a week or for a few days, reach out to people, ask them questions. My DMs are always open. That's how you can really fast track your knowledge really quickly and really start to take advantage of what's happening every single day.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think that especially as alt season is starting, you generally want to be risk on because there are a lot of opportunities there. But you do not want to be high risk towards the actual end of the cycle, because that's how you end up round tripping everything. That's how you end up putting too big a percentage of your portfolio in something too risky. And so as we do get close to whatever the end might be, that's when you really want to be as low risk as possible. And you go from capital accumulation to preservation. And at that point, it's just trying to hold on to as much as you can.
Yeah, very much so. Redman Smokehouse. Is this watchable later? Yes, you can go to Greeny Trades on YouTube and you can watch the replay there. That would be my go-to. All right, I'm just scrolling back through the chat. So the two followers on X were Sammy4, which I did share. Okay, it's just S4MMY ETH, and then ISO Beast, or it might be Beast ISO actually on his Twitter URL. That might be his. Yeah, those two, 100%, definitely worth it. I'd even throw Kicks in there, Speculator, whatever his bloody name, Speculator Art or something.
Yeah,
I don't know, something like
that.
Yeah. So no, he's because he's going, and that's it. Like it's again, I love crypto, man. There's so much because like me and you, like you're LPing, I'm over here trading. Someone like Kicks is over on the side of deving, right? Like he's trying to use AI, he's trying to build, he's trying to code. Because he, like you and I, start to realize what AI's potential can have.
Yeah, AI is. I mean, take a step back from crypto. AI is going to eat the world. It's going to be. Yes. It's the biggest piece of technology in our lives since the internet, potentially bigger than the internet.
Yeah,
it's just going to be everywhere, and so obviously it'll be a big deal in crypto. It's going to be massive, and I still think most people are underestimating it.
Yeah, no, I think we're still early. I definitely think, and like you just take a look at like ChatGPT and really simply like just like unpack that. Like that's only just creeping into society now. I've only started going, yep, I'm using that every day now. Any question I have, any topic I want to know, any research I want to do, yep, I'm going straight there. Yep. The old birds in the room, like me, like you potentially as well, we grew up with Google. Oh, I just go Google it. You go Google it. And I'm like, yeah, sick. And now it's like, no. You literally don't want to Google. You just go
ChatGPT it.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, what are your thoughts on this? So Pete's asking, do you think Prime dumps when obviously the game and stuff goes live? Or even when maybe Wayfinder has a bit of, I don't know.
Yeah, when Prompt goes live. So a lot of Prime is staked to get Wayfinder. And so as those unlocks happen, there probably will be some selling as people get their Prompt tokens, because the Prompt token will, I think, do very, very well. Like multi-billion-dollar market cap is kind of where my head is at based on what we're seeing with other AI tokens. But I think Prime will pump into that. And it kind of just depends on how they integrate it into the ecosystem and what other plans they have for Prime. But there is a lot of Prime locked up for like 4 years. A lot of people lock their Prime for literally 4 years. And so that alleviates a lot of the selling pressure. The founders, the team, they lock their Prime for a long time. And actually, they had unlocks happening, I think, last year. And they, of their own accord, was like, you know what, we're going to lock it for even longer because we're just so bullish on everything that we're building. So, I have honestly no real idea, but I think Prompt is going to be extremely, extremely bullish.
What is that? I haven't heard anything about that particular token.
So Prompt is, so basically they're creating this product called Wayfinder, and Prompt is like the token associated with that. And Wayfinder is basically, you think of it as like ChatGPT, but for your on-chain needs, where you can say, like I said, like, hey, I want to buy a Zerebro NFT on Sol, but all I have is ETH. Can you buy that for me? And it'll be like, yes, this calculated the quickest bridge path, the cheapest fees. We'll execute it for you, do it 5 seconds later or a minute later, done. You now have the NFT in your wallet. Can you make a note of all the virtual tokens that bond and launch overnight that have a market cap of over 1.2 million, and then leave a note for me so that when I wake up, I can look through it. Like stuff like that is what they're building. It is absolutely mind-blowing. And if they can pull it off, that's why I think it's a $5 billion, $10 billion plus coin. It is literally going to change the face of blockchains and everything. But it's obviously enormous expectations that they have to fill.
Yeah. Love it. That's a great, there you go, guys. There you go. All right, I'm just reading through all the chat again. Yeah, so Antoine here, grinding for the past 3 years now. We'll keep doing it. Thanks so much for the reply. You're welcome, mate. I've got time for you every day, mate. I've got time for you every day. What are your best advices to network? We kind of covered that, Pierre, I reckon. Just pretty much, you simply, I suppose you followed it up with this question. Do you DM people on X? I actually find NFT communities a fantastic place to connect with people.
Yeah.
Yes, you're potentially out of pocket, but you can join most NFT communities for free with the public discords or telegrams, and that's I've connected with a lot of good people from there. So that would be my suggestion. And then yes, I would just send a DM to someone. Either they reply, they don't. You got to shoot your shot. If they don't reply, so be it. That's a reflection on them, not a reflection on you. You shot your shot. Good on to you. Okay. What was the allow list to sign up for? Limitless. I'm not sure what that was for.
No idea.
Not sure what that is. I do expect you guys will join my collectors list later this year. Maybe.
Yeah.
Send us a message, mate. Or ping us at GTG. We'll talk.
I think Antoine has messaged me. I'm one of those bad people that doesn't reply as much to DMs. I went through. I would reply to literally everyone for like a year and a half, and then it just got too unmanageable that now I just, for my own sanity, I just can't. But no, I will still randomly reply to people. So like, shoot your shot, and if you're trying to connect with anyone, and like it's the same. Like I'll message whoever, and like half the time that like it's someone I'm really trying to get in touch with, they don't reply. But like I understand it at this point because it's just it's chaos out there.
I mean, like I couldn't agree more. Like my DMs are flooded every day. I try my best to get back to people, whether it's within an hour or whether it's within a couple of days at the least. But it's like, you rank it in priority, right? Like, okay, do I need to answer this now? Do I need to help this person now? Okay, what can I do with this? I can just, I can send them this video and say, hey, watch this. Like, ask me questions, blah, blah, blah. That's the way I go about it. Okay, Pete's asking, is it too late to stake Prime? Or is it the play just to buy and sell, rotate profits into prompt, Prime dump on prompt launch? Yeah, I'll answer the last part of that question. Yes, traditionally, like with all these airdrops with NFTs are going to happen. We just saw it with Pengu. Every asset dumps after an airdrop. Like that's classic behavior, right? So yes. What's your answer to the first two parts of the question?
I don't think it's too late to stake Prime. I think you can still. I mean, actually, I think even after, I think there's potential for this to be an exception to the Prime token dumping because I think you'll still be able to stake Prime. I think 40% of the whole prompt supply is locked up for Prime stakers. And so if prompt launches at 5 billion, 10 billion, and goes absolutely ballistic, and people want to get their hands on it, they can market buy, or people will do some math and be like, if I just buy the Prime token and stake it, I can get this much in this amount of time. And so it's possible that it does just go high, go crazy. So I really don't know. I don't think it's too late to buy and stake Prime for prompt. I think that it is also a decent play to like just hold Prime and try and sell it when there's a pump, if there's a pump, and then buy prompt with that. I would give the parallel avatars a look as well. I don't think they've said anything about the prompt airdrop to them, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, very interesting. Sorry, guys, my camera died. It wasn't on charge, so I'll just charge
exactly the same thing happened to mine before. That's why I'm using my laptop.
I could be back in a second. I'll just let it get a bit of juice. Okay, that was a great answer. So it's Beast_ISO is the one for ISO Beast. Great follow as well. Ordinals and Runesaw. Yeah, we haven't really touched on that, Zen. What are your thoughts in that capacity? A hedge against BTC or not worth time, not worth liquidity, not worth keeping your money there whilst there's potentially other better players going on?
I kind of go back and forth. I've kind of been bullish on Ordinals since they launched, and I still think they will have their day in the sun at some point. Again, like they've had their metas before. But it all comes down to opportunity cost again for me right now. And with so much of the stuff happening being AI agent related, smart contract related, you need a blockchain like Solana or ETH/Base to be able to do this stuff. It is tougher and tougher for me to imagine the ordinals and the runes especially taking off. Ordinals, I think a handful of the collections are going to do crazy stuff like Quantum Cats. What's the other one?
Puppets.
Maybe Puppets. Yeah, Puppets.
OMB.
Yep.
Taproot Wizards.
Taproot Wizards are going to be absolutely crazy. They've been waiting.
Have you got much alpha about that? Have you heard much about that?
I mean, I had a call with Udi. It would be like 18 months ago, and this was kind of like peak Prime when they were getting a lot of hype and attention. And God, time is weird. I can't believe it was that long ago. But basically, he was like, it's going to be the biggest thing ever, and we're also in no rush to launch, which they haven't launched yet. So clearly, he was right about that. I'm super bullish on it. I don't have any alpha. I don't know when it's launching.
Yeah. Okay.
I imagine it will be sometime in the next few months. Slash, just they would want to capitalize on this moment. I think it will be absolutely crazy bullish. And quantum cats, like they gave AI XBT a quantum cat the agent, and the bot changed its PFP to it, which is kind of crazy. And then afterwards, Udi said that they spent $1.1 million of the quantum cat treasury to buy AXBT, the token. And so that's like an incredible flywheel.
Right, no, I agree. I think that could be a play. And I'd again, I haven't dived into this ecosystem. Craig's actually probably the one that might know a bit more in the big TC side. But yeah, do the cats get exposure to Taproot wizards? Or
I think so. Yeah, I think cats will get whitelist, or maybe you need 2 cats to get 1 Taproot wizard. It'll be something like that.
Yeah. Okay. I think that could be a good play. I think that could be a good play. My thoughts, I agree. Like runes, particularly, no. You just like there's just a lack of liquidity. The friction is too bad on Bitcoin, in my opinion. When you've got something like Solana, base as well, obviously abstract something on the horizon as well. That could be an absolute play. Like it just ignores the fact of why Bitcoin is so great as a store of value asset, right? So that's probably my thesis there. I mean, you can still make money. Don't get me wrong. You can make money. That's what I mean. You can make money on every chain, literally. But I mean, yeah, for me, it's just not worth the time probably yet. Again, like I said earlier in the show, give me month on month consistent volume and consistent profits. And then, yes, I will go back and start dabbling over there.
Yeah.
So Kix, that's Kix's speculator art. Yeah. Great fella. He's so funny too. He's a good fella.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just reading through some chat. Okay, I don't know what that one is. We're not going to talk about that. Add value while doing it. Yeah, well, like that's it. Yeah, so we're just going back, Piers, about the networking. So I suppose, like you want to learn. That's the first thing. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I've actually got no idea. Can you just spill some beans? And if, again, like we said, if they're a good person and they're an educator, then yeah, they definitely will. Alternatively, you can go in the approach and say, hey, this is what I do. How can we help each other? Or you can help me, I can help you in this way. And you can do that too. So both strategies work.
Yeah, both strategies work. I think leading with value is always good, but also just being humble and honest and asking and just asking questions and telling people, hey, I don't know many people in the space. You want to connect, and maybe they're in the exact same position. And I would say, in terms of replying to people, one of the single best way to build your network on Twitter and following is be a reply guy. Reply to people with thoughtful responses, like spend some time, add to the conversation. And because the way it works is you might have 500 followers on Twitter or 100 followers on Twitter. You tweet, the algorithm, maybe like 8 people will see your thing, or 25 people. You reply to someone who has 100,000 followers, all of a sudden you're getting 4,000 views on your tweet. And if it's something interesting, insightful, funny, whatever, all of a sudden you've got a whole bunch of followers and fans and people that are like curious to know more about you. So be a reply guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know two people that come to mind about that would obviously be NFT God, who's now obviously Alex Finn, who talks a lot about that daily. But Sweep, Sweep's a massive creator who's gone from I think I followed him at like 50K, he's at 140K now. And he is just a reply guy. Like every single post, every single day, he'll reply a shit ton. And literally he's one that is clearly evident there. And that becomes your network, that becomes your brand, and you're a reliable guy. So, and you know them, like you just said, on a personal level. And that's massive. That is massive. Yeah. And the last alpha with that is turn notifications on. So then that way you can time it well, because if you get in early, your comment goes up the top. Make sure you're verified as well. Make sure you verify, because that pushes you to the top. And then you get more engagement with that as well, obviously, if you're nice and early. Yeah, 100%. That's great. Anywhere else that you can read more about the prompt token?
The white paper. Let me see if I can find it. The Wayfinder white paper.
Do I have that somewhere? Let's have a look. Settings.
Let's see.
No, I don't have that.
Or maybe it's hang on.
Is it in the Prime? Prime?
It might be.
Okay.
Hang on. Where are we? Wayfinder.io. It'll be on there.
Yeah, Wayfinder. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. The paper's on. As soon as you go to the website, it's there. And found a tweet from Dingaling, who is like the biggest NFT whale. He just bigger than literally anyone. he said this is hands down one of the most insane white papers I've read over the last few years, and could completely change the way we interact with the blockchain. The only way to get exposure to prompt is by staking prime and parallel colony assets. Oh, maybe it says that the parallel avatars will get. Oh, it does say it. Yeah, okay. I just got way more bullish on those NFTs.
Okay, hold up. I'm gonna have to bridge back some money from base. I'll have to do that back to ETH so I can buy a couple. Yeah, cool. All right, let's go. I think we're nearly down there. Finish. Mellow. Thanks, mate. Very much appreciated. Maybe we'll have to do another one of these in
I'm keen. I'm happy to chat whenever.
Yeah, I like it. I like this idea. Jay Skizzy, thanks again, mate. Very much appreciate it. Pierre, you're welcome. Small and now, yeah, Tom's coming in here. Small accounts are the alpha where to most connect with CT. Yeah, honestly, there's millionaires in those small accounts. They just don't post about it, right? That's literally.
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest whales, most successful people I know have either no Twitter account or 237 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. Steve, you can watch the replay on my YouTube and you're on YouTube. So you just watch the replay back. I will probably end it very shortly. That's it. What's the website? It's wayfinder.io.
Yep. WAY finder FINDER. Oh, .ai.
.ai. Okay, .ai. There you go.
Maybe they changed it.
Yeah. Tom, you'll have to watch the replay back. We did discuss AI agents at the end. Yeah, I suppose just to briefly go back on that, would you like now is the play to go with the big bad boys who are worth hundreds of millions, if not billions, or is it to maybe try and capitalize on a token like a news-based event or a new up-and-coming one that maybe AI XBT talks about or something like that? What's the alpha there?
Again, it depends on your strategy, but I would generally recommend you start with one of the established ones. AXBT is a great option. Obviously, it's at 500, 600 million right now, but I think it still has room to run. And then explore some of the other ones in smaller caps and decide where you want to go from there. But it's kind of like, it's obviously exaggerated analogy, but it's like you first buy some Bitcoin and then you go down to the risky curve and see what you want to get.
That's exactly how I would have said it.
Virtuals would be the Bitcoin in this analogy, which is the platform coin. It's at like 5 billion, which is absolutely crazy.
It's the true winner. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. TK coming in here. Where do you get the hoodie?
This is a very limited edition hoodie. So in June 2022, we held there's NFT NYC in New York, and we held an event, a Zen Academy event, and we got a bunch of merch created for that. I think 100 of these hoodies, 100 of the 333 Club hoodies, and we just gave them out. They were never sold. I never actually made it to the event because I had COVID, so I was stuck in my hotel room. But my team at the time distributed them to people, and so there's 100 of them in the world. Hopefully, still. We don't have them, unfortunately, but
okay, there you go. Deepin, I suppose we'll finish with that. Rink Factor is asking Deepin, do you have a thesis on Deepin at all, or does AI, I suppose, like RWAs, it kind of can play into that potentially, but maybe not as much? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think there's always going to be metas during the cycle. I think there'll be an RWA and Deepin. They'll both have their moments and narratives and time in the sun. Probably someone will find a way to merge AI into them. It just makes total sense. And they'll be like, I think there might even be AI deep in projects like GPU clusters and stuff like that. I saw something like that recently. I mean, I think deep in is super cool and interesting. And I think going to be an enormous use case of crypto in the coming years and decades. Whether it has a massive moment this cycle or whether it's next cycle or something in between, I don't know. But very bullish on deep in generally, and even RWAs over the long term.
And then, we'll finish with this one. What's your thoughts on Hyperliquid AI agents?
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on them because I think, I'm bullish on Hyperliquid, and I think there's a ton of attention and a ton of capital there. The question mark and the issue is that their EVM, which is their basically layer 2 type thing, hasn't yet launched, and I don't think we even know when it's going to launch. And so if it launches in a month or 6 weeks, I think very bullish on AI agents and like the coins that are on Hyperliquid. I think they'll go ballistic. If it doesn't launch till June, then it's opportunity cost, attention. People are going to get bored. They're going to sell. They're going to go elsewhere. And so it doesn't even need to launch. We just need an announcement of like when it's launching. I think if it says, "Hey guys, we're launching Feb 22nd," I think things will really take off. If it's like Q3, the opposite.
Yep. Amazing. There you go. All right. Well, again, Zen, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for being here. I mean, I think everyone loved it. So maybe we run of these once a week, once a fortnight, something like that. Maybe we run this sesh. Good time zone too, doing it in the evenings. Hit the crowds over in our overseas friends. But yeah, guys, you could watch this back on YouTube. Greeny Trades on YouTube. Go watch this back. So much alpha in this show. But yeah, Zen, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. We'll do it again.
All right, amazing. All right, guys, and chat, thanks for being here. Obviously, 6,200 people in the house. I very much appreciate you all being here. And again, we'll see you again soon, guys. As always, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, guys.